The most beautiful thing about life to me is, you can always start over. You can always start over. And it's not like, we want to. We are on a path, we're on a journey, and we think that, we want it to go the way we want it to go, and we're striving, pushing, thriving. And every day waking up with the goal of making life beautiful. Beautiful. I use that word a lot because I think life can be beautiful. I really do. But the reset button. You get the reset button. You hit the reset button, and it's not glamorous. It's not something you want to do. It's not something that we, wake up want to start over again. But why I say it could be a good thing is, I think it's one of the best things is that, what if you had a bad day? What if you had a horrible day? What if you had a horrible week, horrible month? You can wipe the slate clean and start all over again. And, today is a start over day for me. It really is. It's just one of those moments in time where I'm curious to see, what can I do? How can I mold this life into something, beautiful? What kind of goals can I accomplish? What kind of goals can I set forth that was not even on my list? Starting over. So what's that process? What is that like? What does that look like? And everybody comes at it differently, right? And sometimes we start over, and I think that our, as a human being, our biggest mistake is starting over, using the same mentality that we had before. When you start over, you have to, I feel like you have to have a fresh mentality. And again, it could be something you fear. It could be full of fear. It could be full of, anxiety. Or it could be full of excitement. It could be full of anticipation. If you really, really, really know that you've earned, a good life. You've earned, all of the things that, you did not get, that first go round, second go round, and so forth and so forth. In this start over period, you can achieve those things. And that's the thing about it, right? Sun comes up and it's a brand new day. It's a brand new day. Can I wipe the slate clean of yesterday? Can I wipe the slate clean of, the day before if it didn't go so well? Or if you had a great day, can I pick up on it and build on it, right? So to me, starting over is saying, no matter what, I'm going to have a beautiful day today. And as I have this beautiful day today, I'm going to plant a seed that I can build up on to have a beautiful tomorrow. And during that process, in that format, you can try, and more than likely, if you succeed, you're going to have a beautiful life. Starting over. I'm at that place where, it's so many places in my life that I'm starting over at. So many places. And it's so many seeds I'm having to plant. You know what I mean? So many seeds I'm having to sow. So many, beautiful flowers that can be, planted and nurtured into, a beautiful garden. And that's what I want. That's what I'm seeking to do. And today is my start over day. It's my start over day. And it depends sometimes, sometimes funny about that, it might depend on what stage of life you're in, right? Because sometimes you feel like, oh man, I don't have any more start over in me. I don't have any more start over in me. I always got to start over in me. Always. Because I think that I have been through so many, hard times and stuff like that, that I know that I deserve the opposite. You know what I mean? And so that's what drives me. That's what drives me is the fact of what I've been through. And I know there are many, many other human beings, if not most human beings, that have also been through something themselves. You know what I mean? So don't we all deserve the opposite of some of the things we've been through? And so how do we get it? What is, sometimes we might think, okay, it's all about, finances, it's all about, having this, having that, it's all about so many dynamics. But to me, and for me, it starts within me. Within me, I have to, have the right mentality. I have to have the right drive. I have to have the right hunger, the right motivation. And, if I don't get that right, then everything else is a waste of my time. Everything else is a waste of my time, because isn't that the water? Isn't that the sunshine? Isn't that, the dirt that surrounds those beautiful flowers? And if you don't have those ingredients, then how can it grow? How can it turn out to be beautiful? Starting over. Never a glamorous thing, never something we want to do. But sometimes, in order to have the life we deserve, we have to start over. We have to start over. And again, always keeping in mind that what if we're wiping the slate clean of a not so great day? And that not so great day don't always represent just a day. It can represent, experiences. It can represent just different dynamics of life, you know what I mean? And so I'm looking forward to it in one sense. I am a plethora of all of those things. I do have some anxiety about it. I do have some, hesitations and things of that nature. But what do I have to lose versus what I have to gain? I get to gain all of the things that I've earned. I get to gain all of the things I deserve. I get to gain, countering all the things I've been through. So I'm ready. I'm pumped. I'm motivated. And, anytime I start feeling any kind of anxiety, any kind of doubt, any kind of this, that, or the other, I'm shaking that off. I'm shaking that off. It don't exist. It don't exist. Only thing that exists is a smile that'll be on my face. Only thing that exists is a smile that'll be in my heart. Only thing that exists, again, is the life that we deserve. We deserve. And so, coming at it from a certain angle, and saying, hey, I gotta make, one thing about it is when we think about, do I have room to make mistakes? You know what I mean? Do you leave enough room in case you make a mistake? In case you make an error, and is that gonna be the end all because you made a mistake? Does that just wipe everything away because you make a mistake? And you have to say, no, I'm a human being. I'm not going to be perfect. I'm not God. And that's not even my job to be perfect. My job is to continue to grow. My job is to continue to build. My job is to continue to believe. And as long as we do that, and I'm speaking to myself, as long as I do that, how can I fail? How can I fail? And I look at everything that I did succeed, I have succeeded in life. I had no doubts, no qualms. I knew God was riding with me. I knew, that I believed enough in myself that I can achieve what I was set out to achieve. And you have to get that back. You can't chase it, though. That's one thing about life. We find ourselves either chasing old things or chasing certain things that once was, as opposed to, opening our minds up to new, fresh. You know what I mean? And what I mean by that is, the excitement of things we've yet to experience. Things we've yet to experience. And, the things we have yet to experience, I look at it like this. Let's say you've been going in certain circles, right? Say you've been in certain circles. Let's say, you have a certain circles or whatever. Yet, your life is at a point where you're having to start over. Yet, your life is at a point where you haven't achieved the ultimate success that you wanted to, or you don't have the ultimate life that you want. Well, obviously, that circle isn't working. Obviously, that circle is not providing the nutrients needed for us to get to where we deserve to be. So, we need new, right? We need new. And we gotta turn around and get our minds right and get our hearts right. And sometimes it does require us to make hard decisions. Sometimes it does require a hard decision. And sometimes, again, it can be full of anxiety, it can be full of doubt and things of that nature. But that's because we human beings, see? That's all. That's because we're human beings, not because we're going to fail. It's because we're human beings. And when we are human beings, we have to acknowledge that we are human beings and that sometimes everything is not going to go exactly according to plan. So, we stay flexible. We keep our minds open, but do we ever settle for less? No, can't do that. Can't do that. And, I have high hopes. I really do. And I believe I really do. And I've learned, about what obstacles can be. And those sometimes, can involve some of the same circles that you have been going in. And sometimes that can involve some of the old mentalities that, we've had that did not exactly serve us so well. You know what I mean? And we'll as human beings be so determined to prove life wrong. Oh, I can make this work. I can make this mentality work. I can make this format work. I can make this way work. All this whatever, when that was not even in your design. That's why it doesn't work. Because it wasn't designed for you. Everybody has their own pattern design. Everybody has their own unique, plan. You know what I mean? That's why we don't look alike. You know what I mean? That's why you may see somebody, oh man, you kind of look like so-and-so. You look like so-and-so. You look like so-and-so. But just a glimpse. Because you're not so-and-so. We're all different. Every human being on this planet. Every human being on this planet. And you can line up 10 people that look alike. And what you do is you would totally turn around and realize all 10 people could look alike, but none of them are the same. None of them are the same. Starting over. So, that's what today's plan is, and that's what today's journey is, and I'm ready. And I hope you're ready as well. I'll let you later on.